Hello, welcome to my presentation, TypoScript, Program Analysis, Empowering Healthier Choices. At this current time, I am a data analyst intern for TypoScript, and I hope to tell you more about the company as we visualize the data that this company is going to be able to provide for its clients. TypoScript, I should explain before I go on, is a filtered spend debit card that nonprofits, health organizations, anyone advocating for the health of a group of people can grant funds to people through this debit card. And the debit card will only be able to be used on healthy purchases, mainly healthy foods and over-the-counter medications and products. So what's in this data set to help support the promotion of this business and as well as giving customers insights on how their clients are using the data? The data set we use is a sample data set to preview future customer purchase insights. This data will help program managers see how real data will look like. So this is a very realistic looking data set of what purchases might look like in data exports. So if someone signs onto this program, what they might be looking at when they get the monthly report of their data. The program's goal is to promote healthier spending and avoid long-term healthcare costs. One of the mantras of the business is we often avoid expensive, healthy foods, or we avoid going to the doctor because we're trying to save money now. But if we actually take our medications, we eat healthier, while that stuff might cost a little more now, it might save you from certain diseases earlier in life. So allowing these advocacy groups who help people with their health needs to make those smart choices and give them extra funds so that they can make those healthier choices earlier in life. The debit card, one of its main features is it offers guardrails to ensure only healthy purchases are approved. So let's see what that looks like in visualization form as we explore the data set. Three purposes and areas of focus as I go through this data set. The first is proof of concept, showing what the actual data might look like when the next iteration of the card launches. To highlight healthy spending and showing that we can also demonstrate when people are trying to use the card for restricted purchases, of which the card will stop them from doing so, but you'll get a record of which clients are trying to use the healthy spending card on a number of things, and helps program managers see spending trends by individuals and location. So if a client governs 5 different locations around a state, they could see location specific, how are people at each of these different locations using the card. And you might see a difference between locations depending on a variety of factors, ranging from nutrition, counseling to makeup of the clientele. So not only can you see it at a global level, but at a building level and at an individual level. Here's an overview of the data set. We have many different metrics for purchases. In this data set, we have 765 transactions between 50 customers and 2 subprograms. So half of these customers are in one subprogram, half are in the other. Some key features in the data, the transaction date, the program and client identification, so you know which building they came from, which individual this was. The requested amount and the approved amount, and most importantly, the product category. So you can actually see what products your people are buying with the health-enabled debit card that you give them. Next, let's imagine if you gave a friend or a relative a $100 Visa gift card. What might they go spend it on? Well, I'd like you to imagine for a second you run a health focused nonprofit or business, and you gave someone $100 in a regular gift card. They might spend it on fast food or restaurants, transportation, entertainment, fuel, beauty, or alcohol. Now, not all of these things are necessarily bad, but if the focus of this card is to promote healthier living, a lot of these are outside of that realm. So our filtered spend debit card will block these types of purchases. So what can you use the card on? Before we take a closer look at what you can spend the card on, at a global level, you can use it for food, healthy foods, which you see in the green, and OTC, which is in the tan color. Note earlier I said you could see at building level, group level, individual level, how people are spending the money. We have two sample groups here, the Urban Vitality Network and the Golden Horizon Estates. On the left, we have the requested amounts by product group. Notice in the red is other. These red actually uh, represents rejected purchases. Now, they requested several $100s in uh, products that were filtered out and not allowed to be purchased. But note on the approved side, none of those restricted purchases were actually granted. So if you would go to the grocery store with this card and one of your items was restricted, the debit card would only work on the items that are on the approved list. And if a product is not on the approved list, it'll tell you you have a remaining balance. So in this case, if these people try to purchase these items at a grocery store, let's say, and they were restricted items, that's what would happen. Here's an example of some restricted purchases from the data set. We have one user trying to use it at a barber shop, shoe stores, fast food restaurants, a toupee shop, a gas station. Looks like this one's a clothing store, transportation, and the last one is grocery store. Um, the purchase must have been of a non-approved type. And if you're a business or a nonprofit trying to promote healthier living, you might want to look at which users are repeatedly trying to use it for the wrong things. Because those people might need extra nutritional counseling, behavioral counseling that you could offer in support if you offer those services. So here I did a value counts for rejected purchases and found 3 users who made at least 2 rejected purchases. We're going to take a closer look at the top pan number there, which is a person who made 4 rejected purchases. We're going to call this user John Doe, and here are John Doe's 4 rejected purchases. He tried to order a triple patty butter burger at a restaurant. That was rejected. Tried to take a lift with the card. That was rejected. He also tried ordering fries and beer. So a lot of restaurant type items as well as a taxi service. Here's a comparison to what his spending breakdown would look like if everything was allowed versus what actually got approved. So he tried using almost 17% of his funds on those items. But because there were guardrails 100% of his purchases were either on healthy foods or over-the-counter medications and products. What types of products can be bought? Here is a bar chart for the top categories by approval amount. So if you want to see what types of products people are buying with the health debit card, you can look along the side here. We got meat, milk, prepared and preserved food. We'll take a deeper dive in that one later. Vegetables, beverages, fruit. You'll see some medical ones here like personal hygiene, health enhancements. We'll take a deeper dive on a few of these coming up. Here we take a deeper dive on what some of these categories look like. So if you sort your organization by what was purchased and then dig even deeper on the categories, you can see actual items that were purchased. So earlier when I filtered the data and I saw prepared preserved food, that sounded a little vague to me, so I wanted to see what that was. Ready-made combination is maybe a prepared meal. Sometimes you'll see that in the deli section of a grocery store. Prepared soups was the second most purchased in this category. Pasta falls under this. You can read some of the other things that would fall under prepared preserved food. Also, a closer look at milk, butter, cream, and yogurt. That one's a little more self-explanatory. But a lot of money spent on types of cheeses and types of milk. But a lot of staple items in this short list. This chart shows approval rates by category. Down here in OTC and food, 100% of the purchases were approved, and these other purchases were approved at a rate of 0%. And again, one of the themes of the company is that it's about enabling healthier choices. Healthy choices today mean lowered medical costs later. Help your clients make a healthier choice by giving them this filtered spend debit card. Here's a look at a user behavior analysis. So this is one particular user and what they spent the money on. So you can see the different items, types of items they bought, and how much money they spent on each of them. Again, if your organization or nonprofit would want to do nutritional counseling, you could look at a chart like this and talk through how they're spending the money. Or you could give them the freedom. You tell them what's generally allowed on the card and give them the freedom to purchase what they want within those restraints. But the option for individualization and counseling could be there with this extra data. Will purchases be consistent? Well, on an individual level, if you're like the average person, you probably don't go to the grocery store every day or go to the pharmacy every day. So this is actually John Doe from earlier. This is what his spending looked like. Notice there are many days where he spent $0. This is the purchases by the whole group. The orange is spikes and dips in food spending, and the blue is ups and downs of OTC spending. And there are certain days of the week where you might have more shoppers than others, so you might have some high volume days, some low volume days. But if you look at an aggregated total of how much was spent across time, and this data set was across 3 months, you'll note if you average it out and total it up across the 3 months, the rates of growth, the rates of how this money is being spent is pretty consistent. This this debit card works as a notional account, which means you might give people a debit card saying you have $100 on your account, but they don't get any of that $100 until they spend it. So the money will actually sit in your own account, and you'll just have to make sure there's enough in your accounts to honor those purchases. So if you want to see how much you're going to need in your accounts on a particular date, across 50 users, across 100 users, across thousands of users, you'll probably hit somewhat of a smoother pattern when you collect the data together. Also notice the green for other. No restricted purchases were made across this time span. Recommendations and conclusions from this data. Visualizations will help you see healthier choices that your clients are able to make. Help you find which clients might need nutritional or behavioral support. Also, I hope this helped to visualize that money won't leave the parent organization's accounts until it is spent. And average across a large group, you'll be able to find what your rate of spend is. And if you see anything in the data that looks fishy, maybe all of someone's purchases were rejected, and it's on really someone was trying to book a vacation or a hotel room. You see something that looks odd, maybe one of your users was taken advantage of. We have a call center that you can call. It'll be on the back of every card. The program manager will have this number. Our call center can speak every major language. So if you ever have any problems with the card or see anything suspicious in the data, don't be afraid to call. I'd like to end this video by thanking the founder of TipaScript, Chad Johnson. Chad is a local entrepreneur and a good friend of mine. It's a very strong vision he has, and I wish him lots of success. I'd also like to thank him for the opportunity to serve as his data analyst intern. I learned a lot about entrepreneurship. I learned a lot about business and sales, while also getting to exercise my Excel, my SQL, my R, and especially my Python as I worked on this extensive project. Not only providing these visualizations, but also helping build out this data set to visualize what the customer data will look like when the debit card is released in 2025. Well, I hope you learned something about TipaScript and my data skills through this presentation. My email is listed here if you want to get in contact. And again, check out TipaScript on LinkedIn if you want to learn more about it. Thank you.